Hello, and welcome back to our series where we are building a people and culture management system, focusing on our compensation dashboard in particular. This series is brought to you by Prairie HR Solutions. My name is Jake Finger, founder and principal consultant here at Prairie HR Solutions. And in this video, I'd like to finally take everything that we did and finally populate the data based on these two drop downs up here into our chart. So what we have here, just as a refresher, those of you who are just joining us, this is for your benefit. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about here and haven't watched our previous videos, I highly suggest you go back and watch those videos because we did quite a bit of work. We built this from scratch, and it will make a lot more sense if you catch yourself up with those previous videos. So what we have here is essentially a dashboard that is defaulted to every employee in the company and their pay based on experience. And we're able to essentially filter this company-wide now by the division, the job title, functional family, level, state, and drill down even into our employee number. So what we can also do is we created a drill down effect. So let's say that we are going to collect, say, our executive branch here. And our executive branch has 5 employees in it. And what we're wanting to do is not look at everybody, but drill into this executive branch. So we can lock the executive branch, and then we can filter by, say, state or any of the other boxes. We have one person. We can also do like an accountant. So since we only have 5, we have 5 employees and they're each different, and so on. Now, once we lock this, these drop-down boxes automatically populate for only those that are in the executive division or branch or whatever you're using. And then, of course, when we release it, it goes back to everything. So let's pick a division and call facilities. And this is what we have been doing the last previous episodes. So this is all of our facility employees. And if we want to lock that, we update all of our drop-downs to only show the division in facilities. And then we'll pick, let's say, project manager. And these are all of our project managers. And then what we want to do is lock the project managers and then show the data based on these. So when we lock the project manager, say we have, when we lock the project manager, this will update. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 employees. So what we want to be able to do now is select, say, how many employees are in the state of Wisconsin that are also in the facilities as project managers. That's really what we're trying to get at. And as you can see, nothing's happening right here. And, that's fine because we haven't built that. And that's what this episode is going to do. We are going to finally build these 4 drop downs to be functional in populating this data. So let's come over here to our code. And what I want to show y'all is when I left off, there was an error. And I want to show you what the error was. There was a couple errors, actually. The first error was these closing brackets. So these closing brackets on our nested if and else statements. Anytime that you have a lot of if statements, and more importantly, a lot of nested if statements, you have to make sure that you ensure that your closing brackets match where they really need to close. Because if this is closed down here, then your function is not going to work properly. So make sure that your brackets are closed. And then the other thing that I had that I actually didn't have here was this piece right here. So we created this when both checkboxes are true. Then we wanted to filter all that data. And unfortunately, it had no idea what this comp jobs value was because this comp jobs value was only existing in here. So essentially, I took that and put it in each one of these. And of course, after we get this functional, we will go through and clean it all up, and that will probably be a global. So now what we have is this filter criteria is coming over to our Google Apps script side. Now our Google Apps script side is taking that filter data, but what it's currently doing right now is it does not know if the filter data belongs to the division cascade or the job title cascade. So this is just the division cascade. So what we're going to do is we are going to do yet another if statement. So we got to go all the way down. And we are going to encase this in closing brackets. And then we're going to take this and say division cascade, closing brackets. Usually I do this, and I didn't do it before, and this is why I got caught with that closing bracket. I usually label which one is which. So now we can come up here and say that this is what needs to happen if something comes over that indicates that this is a closing bracket. So what we need to do is figure out what it is that we can send over that will indicate that we can use to test if this is division or not. So let's come back over here to our code and figure out what it is that we can use. So we honestly have, so we have this filter criteria, and this filter criteria is just taking the values or setting the values of those drop-down boxes. It's not actually saying, this check switch is true and this comp switch check is false. So what we could actually do is, let's think about this. A good way that we could indicate that this section is coming from true and false. What we can do is simply just add in a text here. And for now, because we're going to clean this up, for now, let's just indicate that this is TF. Just like that. True, false. And then let's come down here and give that to all of these. Now this is going to be our filter criteria number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll clean this up. This will be something different. I'm sure. Okay, and then this one will be TF. This one will be TF. So nope. So we passed it here. Okay, so this is going to be something different. This isn't going to be TF. So let's just put this in here and we'll change it real quick. This is going to be whatever. This is going to be TT. So that's going to be T. That's going to be T. That's going to be T. And that'll be T. So what we're passing is the value. And what this value is going to say is that essentially we're running this else statement. So what we can do now is come over here and grab this filter criteria and say if our filter criteria at the index 6 is strictly equal to TF, then we run this. And then we only have another option, that TT. So what we can do is come down here and then just write something here. We'll just do else. Let's just give it a console log here. And we'll say that console log is IMTT. And then we don't want it to really do anything. Just want it to send that. Okay, so now let's save this. Nothing should have changed here now. There's nothing that should have changed. Functionality should still be absolutely the same, because all we're doing is adding an additional index to our array that we're passing over. So let's pick something we haven't done yet. Let's do sales. We haven't seen sales in a long time. They're all over the place. And let's lock this. And then let's select sales manager. Should update. And then these are the ones that we need to look at. Let's do this one. So it's firing off those alerts. I got to get rid of those. Changes. Make sure this goes from 12 to 1. Okay, it does. All locations. Let's see how many we have in Wisconsin. Awesome. Now, what we're doing here is if this is set to false, we're also changing this all jobs thing. So we're going to have to, well, no, because we don't have it locked. So that's correct. So let's go back to sales manager. Now let's lock this. And we haven't had anything, we haven't done anything yet. But as you can see, it's locked. And all of our pieces here have been updated. We have 28 sales managers. So now what we can do is, as you can see, nothing's changing. It's the same. So now what we can do is build out this piece. So what we're going to want to do is come over to our analytics side, because we already built out the pieces that need to go. And we need to keep this job value and this. So what we need to do is come over here and then take all of this code here and then essentially work through it. So if it's TF, originally we were filtering the division by that division index, and then we were filtering the job filter by the division index, and that's 1. And then we kept filtering the divisions. So in order to drill this down, instead of having this be the division, that being the division, and so forth, we need to then change all of these to the job filter and then map it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this. Right here. And we're going to just copy all of this. I don't think we closed out. Let's figure out where that one ends. I don't want to screw up our. Okay, so that's that. So we need to copy from here up. Okay, not that much. Not that much. This. Okay. So let's copy this and then come down here, and now in our if statement, right underneath this IMTT, we need to post this. Now this is not going to be the division closing. This is going to be the job closing. So let's make sure that this ends where we need it to end. So if you select it, it'll highlight the other part of it. That other part of it should be that other part of it should be here. No, should be here. Right there is where it should be. So let's see where that goes. Okay, good. It is. Okay, so now we just need to figure out where everything belongs. So let's move this over here. I'm leaving this console log here so it's easy to see. So if it is TT, now remember, TT belongs to true and true. So that's when we want to start filtering it. So what we're going to need to do is we need to filter it by the division, obviously. Then we need to filter the division by the job filter. And then the functional family, we need to filter by the job filter, job filter, job filter, job filter. And then the rest of this should be the same. If filter criteria 1 is all jobs, we don't really need this, I'm not seeing, because this shouldn't equal all jobs. So we can just essentially put that there. And filter criteria 2 is all families. Filter criteria 3 is all job levels. 4 is all employees. So you'll notice that we actually don't even have that one. So we could actually, let's just get rid of that because we don't need it. It's not going to check it. We're only wanting to check if the filter criteria 2 is such and such. So this is essentially blank. And that needs to be, if this is all families, all job levels, all locations, then we just need to filter it by the job filter and return it. And now if it comes up to all families, so this one here is our functional family. So if it doesn't equal all family, but everything else is open, then this needs to be the functional family map. This needs to be that. So I'm just going through making sure that this is the job level. That's the job level. Let's get rid of our jobs. Does not equal all locations. Then it's our state. And then this one here should be our employees. Okay, and then it should return everything. And then else, it's going to return this job filter map. So, and that is if this is TT. So that's going to be if it's TT. No, it's not going to be if it's TT. That's going to be if it's, let's see here. We may be missing an else. So what we're thinking is if all of these, if the division thing is set to lock and the job title is set to lock, and all of these are set to all employees, we want to leave it at that. And then if none of this is true, well, if none of it's true, then it should just go to that. Okay, so that should be fine. Let's see, there's a little redundancy there, but let's just make sure that this thing works. So now let's come over to our page here and let's refresh, because now we should be able to populate things based on hitting this. And then we may just have some cleanup to do. So this should be changing. Oh, and it is. So it picked up the code that we saved. Cool. So let's refresh it just to make sure that it picked it up okay. And we're going to have to do a lot of user testing, as it's called, just to make sure that we picked up every single scenario that could possibly come from this thing here. So we have our company-wide pieces here. Yeah. Let's make sure our demographics work. Yep, sure do. And then we can go to our functional family, see all the functionals in the department. Everything's resetting, all the employees. Okay, good. So now let's pick on operations. And let's lock operations. So we have 76 people in operations. And what we're able to do is now filter within this division all these employees. So we have 11 employees in Illinois, and we have 8 employees at the job level 5. Operations, we have 8 people in the physical security, and we should have, if we set this to all families, it should refresh it. Yep, 76. Let's make sure we have 76 employees here. 76 employees, good. Now let's check a job. Let's do manager here. So we have 18 managers in our operations. Let's lock this. And then let's open up our employee, because we should have 18. We have 18 employees, and they're obviously in these states, our job level and such. So now if we select anything in these boxes, let's pick Wisconsin, it should update this. Good. And then let's pick a single employee number. Yep, there we go. Let's pick a job level, see how many people at the job level 3 that are managers in operations. There really shouldn't be. Okay, looks like we got 2. That is a perfect correlation. That's awesome. Good job, operations. And functional family, this is randomized data, so this probably won't make sense. We're just making sure that it's there. We have 1. Okay, so now when I uncheck this, that should all clear, go to all jobs, and then it should go right back here to operations. And it looks like we may need to clean that up. Because that should reset, but that's an easy fix. So if we were to click that, unclick it, it should reset. And it's not, but we can fix that, like I was saying. But if we click this, it should completely reset everything. Okay, good. So we now have a functional multi-level drill down for our filters and our pieces. There's a couple things that we just got to clean up, like when we release this, it should reset everything to divisions. And we can tackle that the next time, because what I would like to do is I want to end this video here, because you can see after what we just did, there is a substantial amount of duplication and just complexity. This is so hard to follow. I want to take a look. I want to take a look and see how it is that we can clean this up and make this a little bit more condensed, more maintainable, but also keep our scalability, just in case we want to add like another function or anything on there. So that'll be that next video. And after that, what we'll do is we will then essentially close this out, but then we're going to add this market on this, because it would be nice to be able to look at, say, everybody within our HR department, say all of our HR generalists, and then, of course, be able to lock it or whatnot, but look at our HR generalists and then look at their data down here and then see how that data compares to the actual market. So our average base pay is such, And then if we were able to drill down to an employee number, say whoever this is, 107, be able to actually say, okay, this 107 belongs to this industry, and that industry pays such and such based on that year. So that's what we're going to be working on after we clean it up. So I'm going to end this video here. And if you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button so we know to keep on this trajectory. If not, give us some ideas, ask us a question if we haven't answered it here. If you would like this code, please shoot us an email and I'll be more than happy to provide it for you, at least up to this point, or the finished product is fine. And until next time, please take care.